Well, viewers, thank you for joining us on Biblical Panorama. I am here with a friend and colleague, Pastor Fines Hamatanga, who is the one of our pastors here in Zambia with Lusaka Conference. Pastor, welcome to Biblical Panorama.
Thank you so much.
All right. Today we have an interesting topic, a short one that we are going to delve into as we examine one of the texts that we have in the Gospels, Luke 22, verse 31. Now, Pastor, before we look at a few issues around that text, could you just give us a brief context of the text that we'll be looking at today?
All right, thank you so much. The text we are considering right now is one of the most interesting passages of Scripture, especially captured by Luke and not other synoptic Gospels. This is a text in context that comes after the Lord's Supper. Jesus and the disciples after the Lord's Supper, and so they have enjoyed themselves, but then the disciples have a discussion, and the discussion apparently is void of Jesus Christ in it. And so Jesus looks at the discussions that the disciples are having, and then he comes in to address them. But he uses Simon Peter as one of the leaders of the disciples.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Maybe just before I go to the next question, do you have Luke 22 verse 31 so that we read it?
Yes.
As our followers follow with us? If you can just read the text, Luke 22 verse 31. What does it say? Maybe you can also read verse 32,
Yes.
so that we just put the unit together.
Luke 22, 31 and 32, 31 says, "And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren."
All right, so thank you very much, Pastor, for that reading. Now, one of the things that I noticed as you read the text is that there's a repetition of Simon's name. What is the impact or the effect of the repetition of Simon's name?
Right, so to begin with, I would want to state that first and foremost, it's Jesus here who is speaking, because it begins by saying, "And the Lord said." And so he's calling the attention of the disciples. And it's in the nature of Jesus, usually when he's about to stress something very important, he would use words repeated like verily, verily. And in this case, he is emphasizing the importance of what he's about to talk about. And so he's drawing their attention, and then he's also telling them that what I'm about to say needs you to pay extra attention. Yeah.
All right. Very interesting thing is that as you look at some of the words in the text,
Yes.
As you do an analysis, you find that some of them are singular, others are plural.
Yes.
Now, maybe the question that I should ask next is, what is meant by when Jesus said Satan asked for you?
Yes.
And maybe you want to tell us more about that you.
Yes, exactly. So, like I said, I want you to see the disciples. They're having a conversation about who's going to be the greatest when Jesus comes to establish his own kingdom. And they are just from having communion on the table that represents community. Mm-hmm. But their discussion is actually void of the community. They don't have the sense of mission. So Jesus brings a forewarning to them. And then he says, "Simon, Simon, the devil has prayed for you or has asked for you."
Mm-hmm.
And the cursory reading there, especially in the English, you may not really determine the pronoun, whether it is singular or plural. Of course, it's in the second person. And so we find that in the original, it actually shows that it was plural, which simply means he was addressing all the disciples.
The entire group.
That there is a danger that is coming your way. And interesting also, Jesus makes sure that he allows them to know that the devil cannot attack them unless he writes an application to him.
Wow.
So yeah, it means that actually it's the way it was with Job, where the devil had to apply to say, okay, I've seen your servant Job and I'd like to do something. And so he tells them to say, well, I have an application from the devil, and that's to disorient you and you'll be moved away from me. So he's addressing everybody else in the first plural of the you that is being referred to here. All
right, so the personal pronoun there, the second person pronoun, is in the plural, meaning it's directed to the whole group. Now there's also a metaphor within the text where it says that he certain desires to sift you like wheat. So what is meant by that particular metaphor?
All right, so the metaphor that we see here is the disciples could fully understand and comprehend what Jesus meant by sifting as wheat, that is using some kind of an agricultural term and how they process the food. And so during the processes of having wheat, they used to sift the wanted from the unwanted wheat. So in other words, he's saying the devil wishes to test you and bring some trials that will really prove those who are able to stand and those who are not able to stand. So the desired and the undesired disciples. So in short, it's an attack on the disciples as to whether they are strong enough to stand the trials that are yet to come.
Right. That's an interesting revelation as one looks at that particular metaphor, to sift you like wheat in order to see that which is the chaff from that which is maybe let me say the kernel, the real stuff.
Exactly.
Interestingly, then there's a transition to the next verse, which is verse 32, where now Jesus prays for. Now you need to tell us there. Does he pray for the group?
Okay.
Or what does Jesus do that creates that interesting, let me say, a shift in the conversation with the disciples?
All right. Thank you so much. Actually, as I was studying this passage, one of the nuances that you will see is that Jesus addresses him as Simon as opposed to Peter. Yet it was actually Jesus who said, from today you shall not be called Simon, but Peter. Nobody should call you that. But at this particular time, Jesus himself is calling him Simon. We could homiletically say that he's referring to the old person in him, who has the potential to disturb the new person in him. The old habits in Simon have the potential to destroy the new person that he has come. And the devil brings temptation using the old habits that we've been doing in the past. And he has a history and a track record of us. And so when Jesus now begins to pray, we must understand that he is also declaring that he has given divine permission for satanic designs. It is also important for us to understand that there are moments when Jesus himself or God himself allows permission for the devil to tempt us. And so when he begins to pray, he's not praying for everybody else. It is now in the singular. He's only praying for Simon.
So there's a shift from the plural affecting the entire group now to the individual, Simon. That's an interesting revelation, because as you said when we started, from the English translation, you may not necessarily see it. Now quickly we need to wind up. What is the implication of Jesus saying that strengthen your brethren as he closes that prayer?
All right, so I am glad that first and foremost Jesus prayed for them, which simply means as we read the passage, it says that your faith may not fail. And so the original there, the faith may not fail, it actually is a word that is eklipo. It simply means I have put a shield, like I have eclipsed the intensity of the trials that you will be able to manage. So I like the English there. It says, and when you are converted, which is just a matter of time. Conversion is already sure. In other words, God has already provided a solution to the problem that has not yet presented itself. And so it's a guarantee that Simon is going to come back. And it's only a person that has been through something that is the ideal one to encourage those that are going through something.
When,
Yes.
not if.
Not if, but when. So meaning it's just a matter of time.
Yes, that's a very interesting revelation there. And thank you very much for sharing these insights with our viewers. And we look forward to another time when we can have a similar interaction and hopefully come back again to our viewers with some more biblical insights for the building of our faith. Thank you very much, Pastor, for shedding some light on this particular text in Luke chapter 22, verse 31 and partly 32. Well, viewers, thank you very much for joining us this particular episode, and we look forward to a time when we can again come back to you with something that will be of benefit to your spiritual life. God bless you, and we shall see you next time.